Thank you very much. And hello, everyone, and welcome to my first session of the year and also my first session at the PNP calls. So wish you also from my side, everyone, a happy new year. I think this week is a deadline for where we can say that. After next week, nobody wants to hear that anymore. So yeah, happy new year. And my session is not about AI, Copilot, or ChatGPT related. So I'm sorry about that. And but let me know in the chat what color you are so that I can get a feeling after the presentation that was a wrong decision or not. So yeah, my session is about Microsoft Forms and why I think that Microsoft Forms is an awesome way to gather data and to share the data with other people, or maybe to store the data in other places, and maybe also show you how you can proceed with that data, and also what you can do with that data later on. But first, let me get rid of the least important part of this presentation, talking a little bit about me and who I am. So my name is Enea Liçaj. I'm 32 years old, and if someone's curious where I come from because of that weird name, I was born in Albania. I grew up in Greece, and I moved to Germany in 2010. So I've been living there since then. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer still, I think. Renewal email has not come yet. And I also like to call myself a content creator sometimes, since I create a video once in a while, have a YouTube channel. And I'm not a crazy expert on a specific topic on the Power Platform, but because I see myself like a butterfly flying in the Microsoft garden, specifically the Power Platform garden, and trying all the flowers there. So you will find many different topics in there. So yeah, that's from me. And yeah, also what I forgot is what actually pays the bills is my work as a Power Platform consultant at novaCapta. We are a Microsoft partner company, and yeah, we do everything around Microsoft. So if you want to check that as well, you can use the QR codes on the screen and take a look. Yeah, so that's it about me. So let's take a look about the agenda today. I forgot to start my timer. And yeah, so I'm going to use a Microsoft form to submit some data. So that's nothing complicated. Then we're going to see how we can use the request, HTTP request to SharePoint action in Power Automate, which I discovered a couple of months ago, that you can use for retrieving all of the Microsoft Forms data at once. And then we can see how we can manipulate that data, because it does not come in that nicely formatted way that we are familiar with in Power Automate. And just for demonstration purposes, we are going to save the data then in a SharePoint list, but it's not mandatory, or you can save them whatever you want. And I'm also going to show you as a quick theoretical overview of what you can do then with that data, since the time's pretty limited. And I was inspired by Christine, for example, YouTube, where she showcased that you can start by creating an Excel file in a SharePoint library and then create the form from that Excel file. So you have then directly that source, which you can then connect to a Power BI report and then start visualize the data and refresh that every day. So you always have the newest data from your forms responses. And there's also another way where you can directly connect to the Office API, so the forms.office.com API from Power BI by using the get data from web option, and also the option to connect to the SharePoint list that we are going to see today. But yeah, that's the easiest one. Okay, so let me switch to the demo. I will have to stop that sharing and change to that other screen. 1 second. Okay, let me know if you can see again. I think it should be able to see again. Awesome. Is it big enough, or should I zoom in a little bit? Let me know.
Zoom in. Yeah, that looks good. Zoomed in, good. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I've just created here very simple forms, just to save us some time. I call it a company card. I have here a couple of options that the user will be able to select, and then we have here also a SharePoint list made ready, because I think this is very time consuming, and I assume you know how to create the forms and a SharePoint list. So I'm going to skip that and save you the time. And what we're going to do is I'm already in the preview mode of this form, so what the user will be able to see. And I'm going to go to the developer tools, because here's where actually you can grab that URL that you need to do the HTTP request. So let me fill this out real quick with some data. Let's see here. Let's say a user selecting the company car. I want it in 3 months, which is very optimistic. And then you can go to in the developer tools. Let me make it a little bit bigger. In the network section, make sure it's empty. And after clicking send, you will see here a couple of API requests being sent and being received. So you have here this responses section 1. And then if you make it a little bit wider, you can see here that this is the URL that you send to the API so that you can get the responses. What happens if you copy that and paste it in the browser that you used to create that, since you need that token, you will see that you have here all the responses that have been submitted. So this does not look very pretty. But if you use here one of my favorite tools to visualize that, you will see that, here are all the responsive with IDs, start date, submit date. Many of you might want to know how long that form took for the user to complete, and also because I've activated for the internal submission of those forms, I can also see the responder email and the display name, the name, of course. And here is where all the answers are saved. So if we can take a look into this one, it's called answers. We have these key value pairs here, and in the answers key, we have these values with our answers. Now, these are all called answer 1 for some reason, and we have here Max is one of the answers I took. Let's grab the last one, the newest one, which I just completed, which is this one here. And I just wrote my name and my last name and so on and so forth. So we have that question ID and then also the answer. Huh? So here are all the answers. So the problem with this is that we cannot just extract it in this form. So it's a bit difficult to grab that easily from Power Automate, but it's 1 or 2 steps more that we need to do that. So let's see how we can achieve that. So first, I'm going to do it with an instant cloud flow because I want to manually trigger it now. But you can do it in a scheduled flow. You can do it however you like. Maybe combine it with another flow, like a child flow, a parent-child flow, and so on and so forth. So this is just for inspirational purposes. No, what you do with it is up to you, of course. No, I don't want here. And let's call it get all data. Laughing because how David presented it earlier. And welcome to the new designer. No, I don't want Copilot now. Thank you. So I'm going to create a new action called send a HTTP request to SharePoint. And there it is. The cool thing about this is also that it's included. I mean, it's not a premium connector. No? That's the awesome part. You don't have to use the premium HTTP HTTP request connector. So that's the good part. And if you go back to our developer tool here and copy this one and go back to Power Automate, and you need to leave it as a get method now because we're getting the data, of course, and paste it in the URI. What you need to remove is this part here because that goes into the site address. No? Here it's automatically requesting the, maybe I need to zoom in a little bit. Here's automatically requesting the SharePoint sites that you have, so to pick up the list, but you can enter a custom value, and that's where you paste your forms.office.com as a site address. Okay, so let's save it real quick and test it out. So let's manually test it. Okay, run the flow. And we can see here in the raw outputs that we have our submitted forms. No? And as I said, we need to grab these answers here. So what I did is, because we cannot access this answer section here, we directly from this HTTP request response, we need to pass a JSON we need to pass this JSON in a pass JSON action. So for that reason, I'm going to copy this real quick, start from the bottom, and create in edit mode a new action, alt pass JSON. And the content will be coming from the body from this HTTP request. And then I'm going to generate that schema here, and it should be good to go. Okay, so next is that we need to create apply to each, because we have to go through each of those responses and grab that information that's in there. And here we are going to use this body value from our parse JSON. And inside of our apply to each, we are going to do a compose action where we are going to split that answers string in the quotation mark section. So if you take a look here again, we have, no, here that's not a good one. We have here these quotation marks. And since when we count with split function, we start by 0. We say that split it on the 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 section, and give me then the text. So that's Enea. And if I want the next one, which is the last name, then I will have again to add the number of quotation marks that are before that. I've tested it a couple of times, maybe 50 times, and it doesn't matter what answers you have, it doesn't matter how many answers you have. Every answer is after, it starts, the first answer is after the third quotation, and everything else you need to add 8 to that split function. So you can test it out, but trust me on this. So let me copy that split function real quick so I don't lose much time. To keep that time on my track. And that's going to be a function. So, okay, so what I do here is I split these items applied to each answers by the third one for the first answer. The reason why I also have to write it here is because in the dynamic content, these items answers, I cannot find them here, I think, or maybe it's coming from here. Anyways, I sometimes feel it's safer if I just write it by myself. Okay, so this is now for compose get first name. So this is our first compose action. And for everybody else who was wondering where the copy to clipboard option went, it's there. You just need to right click on that action and then you can copy that. So I'm going to paste it there. And I need to change this then. So I'm adding 8, and this is then my 11th quotation. So I'm going to update this to rename this to copy compose get last name. And if I may test it real quick, manually test it. we see that we got 8 responses. So this might take a while depending on how many responses you get. Maybe there's a better way to do it. So feel free to reach out to me later if you have a better idea. I'm happy to take a look as well. But yeah, so if we take a look inside here, we have the first option, the first response, sorry, which has here the output, the name, and then it's here it's the same one because maybe I wrote crap in that. Let's see again. Here's my first name. Yeah, I did not update that one here, I think. Yeah, I left it to 3. I need to update it. Update. So if I test it again, run flow, done. Go to the last one. It has my last name, and the first one has.
And while that's loading, just a time check.
It has my first name. It was loading. Yeah, I'm just too fast for my Power Automate at the moment. So yeah, so if we continue and paste that, let's call this. So we're at 11. Let's go to 19, and so on and so forth. So that was employee ID.
And just a time check for you, Neil. We still have to do the third presentation, so just
yeah. So I'm not going to do all of this. I'm just going to close it at this part, and don't have to go through all of these columns. And you got the point. So I'm going to say, okay, so each of these runs, each of these apply to each runs. What we can do here is we can go and say create item, or do whatever else you might think it's more useful. And then you can, here's my list, which is called company car order, show all. And then you can go and enter all of those entries in your SharePoint list. And so that's it for this demonstration, and how you can grab that information from this API call. And yeah, what you can do else is then after having the data in your SharePoint list, you can of course go and grab the data from here. And I also wanted to show real quick the option of I have it here. So if you are in a documents library, you can start from forms from Excel, which creates an Excel file in this document library, and then it automatically pops up this form. And so you can use this Excel file as a connection to your Power BI, to demonstrate the data. And also my last demonstration is, let's go to this one. If you have, go in the display. Not in display, let's go in the answers. So here are also the answers, and clean this console again. If you want to open this in Excel, it is also showing here this other API call, which is called Form API download Excel file. And this, if you paste this in your URL, in your browser, sorry, if you paste it there, it will automatically download the Excel. But what you can also do is you can go here and say from web, and then paste it in here, and the rest is a demo from BI Elite, which David might have posted already in the chat, and he explains how you can then directly use that Excel file for the data.
Thank you.